I never imagined my life could be destroyed by a single lie. For 8 wonderful years, I built a life filled with love alongside my wife Jessica and our beautiful 7-year-old daughter Lily. Our home echoed with laughter and warmth, until my sister-in-law Amanda planted the seed of the most horrific accusation imaginable. The disgust in Jessica's eyes when she confronted me still haunts my nightmares. But truth has a way of surfacing, even when buried under the darkest of lies. Let me know where you're watching from in the comments below. If my story resonates with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to support this channel. Let me take you through the darkest chapter of my life. As a 32-year-old construction project manager, I had worked hard to build the perfect life. Jessica and I met during our sophomore year of college, both of us studying business administration. Her infectious laugh and brilliant mind had captivated me from our first encounter in economics class. After graduating, we dated for 2 more years, before I proposed during a sunset hike at Lake Tahoe, the place where we had first said "I love you." Our wedding was intimate but perfect, with close friends and family gathering at a small vineyard on the outskirts of Portland. Jessica looked breathtaking in her simple white dress, her dark hair cascading in loose curls down her back. That day, I truly believed nothing could ever come between us. Lily came along 2 years later, transforming our lives in the most beautiful ways. From the moment I first held her tiny body against my chest, I knew I would move mountains for this perfect little human. She inherited her mother's expressive brown eyes and my unruly curly hair. By age 7, she had grown into a spirited, intelligent girl, with a passion for science experiments and bedtime stories. Our special tradition was Thursday night movie marathons with homemade pizza and pillow forts in the living room. Amanda, Jessica's younger sister by 4 years, had always been a complicated presence in our lives. Standing at 5'9" with poker-straight blonde hair, she contrasted sharply with Jessica's petite frame and dark features. The sisters had an intense competitive relationship dating back to childhood. Where Jessica was pragmatic and steady, Amanda chased drama and attention. She remained perpetually single-cycling through relationships that inevitably imploded due to what she called men being unable to handle her truth. The tension between Amanda and me began subtly. At family gatherings, she would make small comments just sharp enough to sting, but vague enough that responding would make me seem petty. "Must be nice to marry the responsible sister and have such an easy life," she once remarked. During Thanksgiving dinner, Jessica would gently scold her, but never with the firmness needed to establish boundaries. As Lily grew older, Amanda's behavior became increasingly concerning. She constantly compared Jessica's parenting decisions to her own hypothetical ones. "I would never let my child eat that much sugar," or, "When I have kids, they will learn 3 languages from birth." But what troubled me most was how she began criticizing my close relationship with Lily. "Don't you think it's weird how Ramiro always wants to give Lily her bath?" she asked Jessica within my earshot one evening. My wife laughed it off, but the implication left an uncomfortable silence hanging in the air. Last June, I took Lily on our first father-daughter camping trip to Mount Rainier National Park. Just the 2 of us spent 3 days hiking easy trails, identifying plants from a pocket guidebook, roasting marshmallows, and gazing at stars while I told her stories about constellations. When we returned, sunburned and happy with pockets full of interesting rocks, Amanda was visiting. Her face darkened as Lily excitedly recounted our adventures. 3 nights alone in a tent. "Just the 2 of you?" she asked, her voice dripping with insinuation. I brushed it off, attributing her comment to her usual negativity. That was my fatal mistake. 2 weeks later, I returned home from a routine day at work. The house felt unusually quiet. When Jessica emerged from our bedroom, her face was pale and her eyes swollen. My heart dropped, assuming someone had died. "Amanda came by today," she said, her voice eerily calm. "She showed me some things, Ramiro. Things about you and Lily." The accusation hit me like a physical blow. As Jessica explained what Amanda had claimed, my world began collapsing. According to Amanda, she had evidence that I had been sexually abusing our daughter. The words were so incomprehensible that at first I actually laughed, thinking it was some twisted joke. But the look in Jessica's eyes told me she wasn't joking. Worse, she believed it. "Jessica, you can't possibly think." I began reaching for her hand. She flinched away from me. "Don't touch me. Lily is at my parents'. I need you to leave tonight while I figure out what to do." Nothing in my life had prepared me for that moment. The love of my life, the mother of my child, was looking at me with pure disgust. No matter what I said, how I pleaded, she had already convicted me in her heart. The following weeks unfolded like a surreal nightmare. After leaving our home that night, I checked into a motel, expecting Jessica would come to her senses by morning. Instead, I received a text message from a number I didn't recognize. It was Jessica writing from a new phone, informing me she had contacted the authorities and filed for an emergency restraining order. My calls went straight to voicemail. Emails bounced back. Our shared friends began to distance themselves, their silence more damning than any accusation. 3 days after being forced out of my home, 2 police officers knocked on my motel room door with formal paperwork. I was now legally prohibited from coming within 500 feet of my own daughter or home. The questioning at the police station remains etched in my memory like a trauma. Sitting in a small room with gray walls under fluorescent lights that made my skin look jaundiced, I answered the same questions repeatedly, while detectives watched my face for signs of deception. How often do you bathe your daughter? Do you and your daughter sleep in the same bed? Has anyone ever expressed concern about your behavior with your child? Before each question twisted the knife deeper. The child welfare officer who interviewed me had already decided my guilt. I could see it in her eyes, the way she recoiled slightly when I moved my hands. I kept thinking, this is how innocent people go to prison. I was forced to find an apartment, signing a 6-month lease with money we had been saving for Lily's college fund. The place was sterile and depressing, with beige walls and the lingering smell of the previous tenant's cigarettes. I brought nothing personal from home, except clothes Jessica had packed in garbage bags and left on our front porch when she knew I'd be at work. Word spread quickly. Portland isn't a small town, but professional circles are tight. Walking into the construction site office one Monday morning, the sudden hush told me everything. My boss, Frank, a man I'd worked alongside for 7 years, called me into his glass-walled office. "Take some time off, Ramiro," he said, not quite meeting my eyes. "Paid leave. Until things blow over." It was meant as kindness, but it felt like another judgment. With nothing to occupy my days, my mind became my worst enemy. I lost 15 pounds in 3 weeks. Sleep came only in short, nightmare-filled bursts. When I did manage to drift off, I would wake up reaching for Lily, who would sometimes crawl into our bed during thunderstorms. The only person who never wavered was my best friend from college, Tony. He showed up at my apartment door one night with a 6-pack of beer and unwavering loyalty. "This is insane, man," he said, sitting on my still-boxed IKEA couch. "Jessica knows you." How could she believe this garbage? His outrage gave me the first moment of validation since the accusation. Someone still saw me as human. My parents drove up from San Diego, their aging faces lined with worry but resolute in their support. My father, a typically stoic man who emigrated from Mexico in his 20s, wept openly when I told him I hadn't been allowed to speak to Lily. "My son," he said in Spanish, his accent thickening with emotion, "we know your heart." My mother took over my apartment, cooking meals I couldn't eat and cleaning obsessively. Their presence was both comforting and painful, as it highlighted how dramatically my life had collapsed. Meanwhile, Jessica's family closed ranks. Her parents, who had once welcomed me warmly as a son, now changed their phone numbers. My father-in-law, who had taught me to fish and shared his woodworking shop with me, sent a single text: "Never contact us again." The worst moment came 43 days after the initial accusation. My lawyer, a court-appointed defender who seemed perpetually overwhelmed, called to inform me that Jessica had filed for divorce and sole custody of Lily. The legal document described me as an imminent threat to my child's safety. Reading those words, something broke inside me. That night, sitting on the bathroom floor of my temporary apartment, I contemplated ending everything. What stopped me was Lily's school picture on my phone. Her missing front tooth, unruly curls, and the small birthmark near her right eye that matched mine. If I gave up, Amanda's lie would become Lily's truth. My daughter would grow up believing her father was a monster. I couldn't let that stand, even if fighting meant prolonging my own suffering. The turning point came unexpectedly. Tony convinced me to hire a specialized attorney, rather than rely on the overworked public defender. Patricia Williams was a former prosecutor who now specialized in false accusation cases. Her office, unlike the institutional settings I had become accustomed to, felt warm, with leather chairs and walls lined with family photos. "Before we start," she said during our first meeting, "I need to know the truth. Not what you think I want to hear, not what sounds best. The absolute truth." Looking into her steady gaze, I felt a surge of relief. I have never, and would never, harm my daughter. This entire situation is a fabrication by my sister-in-law. Patricia nodded once. I believe you. Now let's prove it. The first breakthrough came when we obtained Amanda's supposed evidence through discovery. It consisted primarily of photos taken out of context, me hugging Lily at a family barbecue with Amanda's commentary suggesting inappropriate touching. Normal father-daughter moments reframed as sinister through manipulative narration. This is actually good news, Patricia explained. Her evidence is circumstantial and subjective. It shows normal affection that she's deliberately misinterpreting. As we dug deeper, a pattern emerged. Amanda had a history of making similar accusations. Through social media searches, Tony discovered she had accused a former boyfriend's roommate of sexual harassment, leading to the roommate losing his job. The claim was later recanted when the boyfriend broke up with her. Patricia hired a private investigator who uncovered financial troubles in Amanda's life. She had recently been laid off from her marketing position and had substantial credit card debt. Multiple sources confirmed she had been asking Jessica if she could move in with them temporarily before the accusations surfaced. The most damning evidence came from Lily herself, though indirectly. Jessica had reluctantly agreed to have Lily speak with a court-appointed child psychologist. The psychologist's report stated that Lily showed no signs of abuse and appeared confused by certain leading questions. More tellingly, when asked about specific incidents Amanda had described, Lily had no recollection of them. She said Aunt Amanda told her that sometimes daddies do bad things and don't remember the report noted. But my daddy doesn't do bad things. I wept when Patricia read that line to me. Through a mutual friend, we located Amanda's ex-boyfriend from 2 years prior. Initially reluctant, he eventually provided a sworn statement that Amanda had threatened him with false allegations when he tried to end their relationship. She said she would tell people I hit her if I broke up with her, his affidavit stated. She said no one would believe my side. The case against me began unraveling further when Tony recovered deleted text messages between Amanda and a friend. In them, Amanda complained about Jessica's perfect life and how she needed to see what her husband was really like. Most incriminating was her statement, "Once Ramiro is gone, Jessica will need me. She'll see I was right all along." After 4 grueling months of legal battles, depositions, and psychological evaluations, we finally had our day in court. The judge, a severe-looking woman in her 60s, reviewed the evidence thoroughly. The court finds insufficient evidence to support these extremely serious allegations, she stated. Furthermore, there are troubling indications of coaching and possible malicious intent by the reporting party. With those words, the restraining order was lifted. The child welfare investigation was closed. I was legally cleared, but the damage was done. I had lost 4 months of my daughter's life. My marriage lay in ruins. My reputation, despite the court's decision, remained tarnished by whispers and lingering doubt. The vindication came with an unexpected twist. When presented with the complete evidence file, including Amanda's text messages and history of similar accusations, Jessica finally saw the truth. She contacted me directly for the first time since that horrible night, asking to meet at a coffee shop near my apartment. She looked smaller somehow, her confident posture replaced by a woman crushed under the weight of a terrible mistake. Her first words were, "I don't expect you to forgive me." The road to recovery proved far more complex than the moment of vindication. Jessica and I sat in that coffee shop for 4 hours, both of us alternating between tears, anger, and exhausted silence. She explained that Amanda had played on her deepest fears as a mother, presenting fabricated evidence with such conviction that Jessica felt she had no choice but to act immediately to protect Lily. "I should have known better," she whispered, her coffee growing cold between her trembling hands. "I should have trusted the man I've known for 13 years, over someone who has always been jealous of my happiness." While part of me wanted to comfort her, a larger part remained raw with betrayal. "You thought I could hurt our daughter. You didn't ask questions or give me a chance to defend myself. You just believed the worst." The truth is, hearing Jessica's apology didn't magically heal my wounds. The damage had cut too deep, the betrayal too fundamental. But it was a necessary first step. The most painful and beautiful moment was seeing Lily again. Jessica arranged for us to meet at a family therapist's office, a neutral space where Lily would feel safe. When my daughter first saw me, she hesitated briefly, then launched herself into my arms with such force, I nearly fell backward. "Daddy, you were gone so long," she cried, burying her face in my neck. I held her, memorizing the feeling of her small arms around my neck, the scent of her strawberry shampoo, the sound of her breathing. Over her head, I caught Jessica's eye, both of us, realizing the enormity of what had nearly been lost. Lily had been told I was away for work on a special project. She knew nothing of the accusations or legal battles. Preserving her innocence was perhaps the only thing Jessica and I had done right through this ordeal. As for Amanda, the consequences of her actions finally caught up to her. When Jessica confronted her with the evidence, Amanda first denied everything, then tried to claim she had genuinely believed her accusations. When backed into a corner, she lashed out, revealing the true depths of her resentment. "You always had everything handed to you," she screamed at Jessica during a family intervention. "Perfect husband, perfect child, perfect house. I just wanted you to see he isn't perfect." Jessica's parents, initially distant due to the accusations, were horrified when they learned the truth. Their apology to me was sincere but couldn't erase the months they had believed me capable of monstrous acts. Some wounds never fully heal. Jessica and I began marriage counseling, not with any certainty about our future, but with a mutual commitment to at least understand what had happened. Our therapist, Dr. Ellis, specialized in trauma and betrayal. "This type of accusation is particularly devastating," she explained during one session. "It attacks not just your character, Ramiro, but the most fundamental aspect of your identity as a father and protector." To Jessica, she pointed out the impossible position she had been placed in. As a mother, you felt forced to make an impossible choice with incomplete information. The guilt you're feeling now is the flip side of the protective instinct that made you act then. The process of rebuilding trust moved at a glacial pace. For weeks, Jessica and I interacted primarily through scheduled therapy sessions and carefully worded text messages about Lily's schedule. Eventually, we progressed to family dinners where the three of us could begin re-establishing our dynamics. Jessica chose to cut all contact with Amanda despite their parents' attempts at facilitating reconciliation. "Some betrayals can't be forgiven," she told her mother firmly. "She tried to destroy my family out of jealousy. I can't have that energy in my life or around my daughter." After much deliberation and legal consultation, we decided not to pursue criminal charges against Amanda for filing false reports. The process would have been lengthy, expensive, and most importantly would have required Lily's involvement in a way that could have damaged her. Instead, Amanda faced natural consequences. Our extended family learned the truth. Her reputation in our community was irreparably damaged. She eventually moved across the country, starting over in Boston, where her past couldn't follow quite so easily. For me, the experience fundamentally changed how I viewed human relationships. I became more cautious, more observant of subtle dynamics in families. I developed a deep appreciation for due process and the presumption of innocence, concepts that had been academic until I found myself fighting to prove a negative. The hardest lesson was learning that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or pretending the injury never occurred. It means choosing to move forward without allowing the pain to define your future. Some days I succeeded at this. Many days I failed. As for Jessica and me, we are still writing that chapter. We continue to co-parent Lily with love and dedication. Whether our marriage will fully recover remains uncertain. Trust, once shattered, never reassembles without visible cracks. But we both agree on one thing: protecting Lily's happiness and security comes before our own pain or pride. If there's wisdom to be gained from my experience, it's this: the most dangerous weapon isn't a gun or a knife, but a lie told at the right moment to the right person. Words can destroy lives as effectively as any physical violence, and yet truth has a resilience that eventually brings it to light if you fight long and hard enough to expose it. Have you ever faced a false accusation or been betrayed by someone you trusted? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else going through similar pain. Please like and subscribe to help spread awareness about the devastating impact of false accusations. Share this video with someone who might need to hear that fighting for the truth is always worth it, even when the odds seem insurmountable. Thank you for listening to my story. Remember, in your darkest moments, keep moving forward. The light will find you eventually.